Hey guys, if you're enjoying the content that I'm making, please click that subscribe button. Also remember to click that bell button and make sure to tick that box to send all notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. With that in mind, let's get on with the video. What's up guys, welcome to Munchkins Gaming, where we take your gaming to the next level. This is Munchkins logging in to bring you another episode of Adventurers Chat Log. This week is a little bit different. Deli is not here this week, and sorry about last week. I was actually on my engagement party, so I didn't get a chance to actually record or report any news of what's happening or anything to chat about anyway. And so I'm back this week with a little bit of difference because Deli is not here, so I'm not going to be talking a lot. But there was a recent interview with Naoki Yoshida, which is our producer for Final Fantasy XIV, and this was done in the PS universe or PlayStation universe. And there's a couple of things that I just want to quickly talk about. And of course, the first one is the confirmation of some Relic armor that's going to be implemented in the Forbidden Land of Eureka. Now, for those people who don't know, the Forbidden Land of Eureka is basically going to be our relic quests from just like in A Realm Reborn and of course in Heaven's Ward with the anima weapons. So he actually really confirmed that there are actually already plans in place in order for us to have some sort of new relic armor. So that's going to be interesting, and for those people who are quite excited into grinding and leveling up the relics, this is probably the content for you. Now for me, I'm not a big relic person. I really did all the relics in the A Realm Reborn only up to the point where when you fight the first three primal hard mode. So and then after that I never really got to finishing it around. I nearly finished the bard one, but I just sort of, after the all the materials that you need, I sort of gave up on that idea, and I think I stopped where you were getting some light and farming light. So it's not the content for me, but for those people who are excited, there you go. And the other one that I want to talk about here is they actually asked Yoshida-san about monk. So the actual question was, as a monk, and this is in quotes, we feel like the job has been somewhat left behind since Stormblood's launch in terms of job balance changes. We feel tackle mastery is redundant, and Brotherhood also seems to have limited use unless there is a certain party composition. We love the role of monk, and given that Stormblood feels to be a monk focused expansion, will we see any changes at all? Maybe even that rumored Grease Lightning 4. Now, Yoshida-san has actually mentioned some of the bad implementations of Grease Lightning 4, and he sort of reiterates that here. So he says the idea of Grease Lightning 4 was heavily debated within the development team during our work on Stormblood. If we were to implement a new level of Grease Lightning, we have to consider the following. 1. With additional stacks, the number of times of an attack can be executed within a certain amount of time will increase. So in order to keep balance, we would have to lower the potency of weapon skills, which I think it's fine. They can do that. They've already pretty much done that anyway. They reduced all 10 potencies of all our skills. Number 2, executing actions will become even more hectic for monks, and the disparity between player skill will become even more apparent. Now, I know what Yoshida-san is trying to say here. That he doesn't want the casual player to feel sort of really left behind in the dust where, there's more skilled player. But I think if they really worked on this, monks were usually used by people who are actually wanting that fast-paced, I guess more skilled, because of all the different positionals you have to hit and the different kinds of obviously the balance that you have to do when it comes to making sure you keep your grease lightning. So most monks actually have a very good skill. Like, you can actually tell if a monk sucks already, even now. So, I know maybe extending that, but I guess that's that. So continuing on to what Yoshida-san said, these two major issues would occur, and so we decided not to move forward with the idea. I understand the desire to improve gameplay, and I'm still very conflicted about this. However, we are continuing discussions within the development team on this topic. He's also mentioned that with the new PvP mode hitting us very soon, the recent release of Ultimate, of course, it's clear to see the Square Enix development team are taking player feedback on board and really listen to the community. I guess in some way, actually Dragoon, I didn't really see a lot of Dragoon complaining, but they still keep on buffing Dragoons. I know there was really issues with Dragoon, and I felt that when I played Dragoon, and you guys can see that in my video about Dragoon, that there was actually I actually felt it was a little bit clunky at times, especially having to charge up to 4 stacks before you can use your level 70 skills. So that was a bit of a downer for me when I played Dragoon, and now it's a little bit more how should I say it? It's a little bit more okay, or more fluid, especially with the balance changes they've done. But there's a lot of potency differences and stuff like that they've done. Now, the other things that they mentioned in the interview is obviously about housing, and this was a little bit of an issue when they released Shirogane housing, because not a lot of people obviously managed to get that. And obviously I was one of the people who wanted to buy a house, but I never got the chance to because I had to work, and when I got home it was already too late. And people who were actually there at the time and trying to log in, there were issues there as well. So for this housing, for the next patch 4.2, they're adding more plots, and I think what they're saying here is they're trying to planning to introduce a new process to the plot purchase specification. So where they're not able to divulge any details as of now, but hopefully we'll find out pretty soon. Also, they mentioned quickly that there would be some I guess real life, I shouldn't really say real life, but it's quality of life adjustments that they are going to be doing. So it's partly for the glamour system, which we have talked about in the past here in Adventurers chat log. So it'll be nice to actually manage to have a new system for the glamour system and the player inventories as well. And they're also saying something along the lines with the retainer inventory and the chatting with friends and planning out schedules with your static or your FC, or of whatever the case may be. They quickly mentioned about Diadem as well, which it's kind of dead right now, and I don't think they plan to do much, but he didn't really specify on what the idea for the updates in regards to the Diadem. And finally, the last thing that I want to talk about, and I'm trying to rush all the interview here and tell you my thoughts because there's no one else here but me this week. So the last thing I want to talk about is basically if they're planning to introduce new disciples of land and hand at the same time. Now, Naoki Yoshida-san said that they aren't real. They think he feels that there's enough disciples of hand and disciples of land, and there's a huge variety already. And fundamentally, the problem with this is if they're adding new things is that they have to introduce new recipes and fun ways to use the class. They're pretty much going to have to implement this in the lower levels of the crafting system, which will take quite a long time. Because think about this: if you added a disciple of land, another one, basically whatever that disciple of land is gathering will have to be implemented in all different kinds of disciples of hand. Sure, maybe you can just add it in a few, but there should be quite a few recipes, or else that disciple of land will not be able to earn the guild that most, disciple of land gets. So it's kind of gonna be quite unfair on that disciple of land if you don't implement different kinds of recipes for that particular class or job. So I do understand that what Yoshida-san is saying in there, and I completely agree. For those people who actually want more disciples of land and hand, you'll just have to look maybe in the next expansion if they're even kind of going to try that. But I don't think they're going to put too much resources, because there's already quite a lot of different disciples of hand, and the disciples of land, I mean the mining and the gathering of botanist and the fishing, I feel is just enough for even the casual players. It's just going to be a little bit too much, I think. At least that's how I feel. Anyway, guys, that's it for this week's of Adventurous Chat Log. Enjoy the rest of the video. This is actually our second clear on O4S, and unfortunately, a lot of difference between the members of our static basically opinions about going to coil, and some don't actually want to do it. So we're sort of restarting the static with people who actually want to do coil. So you'll probably won't see some of the other members here ever again, or maybe not even in the next videos that I will post. Anyway, guys, that's it for this video. Remember to click like, subscribe, and share this video if you find it informative at all. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at Munchkins Gaming, and of course on Facebook at Munchkins Gaming. This is Munchkins logging off, and I'll see you guys in the next level.